This is the shortest airport runway in the world, and I'm not even sure it qualifies as a real runway. Located in Yrausquin Airport in the Caribbean island of Saba, this runway is so tiny, it's like the airport equivalent of a parking space. Seriously, pilots landing here must have nerves made of steel, or a really good prayer in their back pocket. Oh, and did I mention it's surrounded by cliffs and water? So, overshooting might just earn you a free scuba lesson. While countless runways around the world pose a challenge for pilots, this one takes it to another level. Ever wondered if an A380 could safely touch down here? We'll get into that soon enough. But first, let's uncover what makes this runway so remarkable. When one asks aviation enthusiasts to name some airports with a terrifying and technically challenging runway, you'll usually hear the same contenders. Princess Juliana International Airport in St. Martin, where planes land just a stone's throw away from sunbathers on the beach, or Courchevel Altiport in France, where the runway is so steep it feels like you're landing on a ski slope, or probably Gustav III Airport on St. Bart's, where the approach involves dodging yachts and buildings. But if you think those landing strips are nerve-wracking, you've got to see the ultimate thrill ride of Yrausquin Airport on the island of Saba in the Dutch Caribbean. Nestled in the Windward Islands archipelago, Saba's Yrausquin Airport is home to the shortest commercial runway in the world, measuring a mere 1,312 feet or 400 meters from end to end. To put that in perspective, landing on such a cozy runway is like trying to land a plane on your neighborhood's cul-de-sac. But this is where things get even more intense. The runway is flanked by some of the most dramatic geography you'll ever see. On the northern end, you'll find the Caribbean Sea, with a drop-off into the deep blue that goes down nearly 300 feet or 90 meters. On the southern end, the runway is bordered by Mount Scenery, the highest point on Saba, rising sharply to 2,877 feet or 878 meters. This creates an extremely tight landing zone where precision is key, as missing the runway means a plunge into the sea or a collision with the towering cliffs, which means you're either going for a swim with sharks or a rock climbing session with the local mountain goats. Good luck with your choice. So why on earth did anyone think it was a good idea to build an airport here? Well, Saba was initially pretty much cut off from the rest of the world. The locals had to rely on boats for transportation, which, let's be honest, wasn't exactly the most reliable option, especially when the seas got rough. It didn't take long for everyone to realize that the island needed a better way to connect with the outside world, not just for convenience, but to help boost the local economy and provide essential services. From there came the crazy idea of building an airport. The mastermind behind this daring plan was Remy Dehaenen. In 1959, Remy decided to make a landing on what was essentially a patch of dirt, proving that it could be done, even in this impossibly small and rugged location. His successful landing was the spark that got everyone thinking, hey, maybe we can actually pull this off. With some help from influential personalities like Wancho Yrausquin and financial backing from the Dutch government, construction on the Yrausquin Airport kicked off in the early 1960s. One of the key moments during construction was when 3 helicopters from the Dutch aircraft carrier HNLMS Karel Doorman touched down on the still-in-progress runway. And by February 1st, 1963, the airport was officially open for business, with a celebratory landing by a twin-engine PA-23 Apache, flown by George Grow. Now, while the history is fascinating, there's another aspect of Yrausquin Airport that flies under the radar: its dimensions. Sure, we've already discussed that this runway stretches just 400 meters in length, but did you know it's also only 18 meters wide? To put that into perspective, most commercial runways are about 45 to 60 meters wide and can extend up to 2,700 meters in length. By comparison, Yrausquin's strip is like a narrow alleyway squeezed between cliffs and ocean. So what does this mean for pilots and aircraft? In essence, the runway at Yrausquin Airport is like a precision landing challenge. Due to its diminutive size, only aircraft with specialized capabilities can handle it. The most common aircraft seen landing here are the de Havilland Canada DHC-6 Twin Otter and the Britten-Norman BN-2 Islander. These planes are designed for short takeoff and landing, or STOL, operations, meaning they can safely take off and land on short and narrow runways. These aircrafts come equipped with powerful engines and robust landing gear that allow them to manage the limited space with precision. Their design helps them accelerate quickly on takeoff and decelerate effectively upon landing, which is crucial when dealing with such a confined runway. In contrast, larger commercial jets like Boeing 747s or Airbus A380s require significantly longer runways, typically around 3,000 meters or more, to ensure a safe takeoff and landing. Most Airbus A380s, for instance, have a wingspan of nearly 80 meters, while Yrausquin Airport's runway is just 18 meters wide. Trying to land an A380 here would be like cramming an elephant into a phone booth. Not exactly a perfect fit. That's why these giants steer clear of Yrausquin Airport. It's just too short and narrow for their needs. The only airline that flies regularly scheduled trips here is Win Air. It's a short 12-minute flight from the island of St. Martin. This is because landing and taking off from Yrausquin Airport is a high-stakes operation that demands exceptional skill and precision. With such a small landing area, pilots have very little room for error. The limited stopping distance means that every landing requires precise control to ensure the aircraft comes to a complete stop before reaching the end of the strip. A misjudged landing could easily lead to an unintended plunge into the water or a collision with the cliffs, adding a level of urgency to every approach and departure. But the surrounding hazards just don't stop here. Weather conditions are another critical factor that complicates operations at Yrausquin Airport. The island's location in the Caribbean exposes it to frequent tropical storms and high winds, which can make the already challenging landing and takeoff procedures even more difficult. The proximity to the sea means that water can often be an additional risk, especially if rain or high humidity causes the runway to become slippery. This can further reduce the available traction for aircraft, making both landing and takeoff even more precarious. In the Discovery Channel series Most Extreme Airports, Yrausquin Airport is spotlighted as one of the world's most challenging airstrips. Pilots often describe landing here as more like threading a needle than flying an airplane, which gives you an idea of just how precise you need to be. Tom Zeller, in his book, The World's Most Extreme Airports, calls Yrausquin Airport a nerve-wracking experience even for seasoned pilots, highlighting the razor-thin margin for error because of the runway's short length and its close proximity to the cliffs and ocean. Despite the top-notch safety measures, including constant weather monitoring and strict aircraft restrictions, the safety history hasn't been entirely without drama. One recent incident occurred on February 6, 2024, when Win Air's flight encountered severe weather during its approach. The Twin Otter DHC-6 was trying to land when the winds decided to put on a show. The gusts were so strong that the aircraft was tossed around like a beach ball at a windy picnic. The pilots quickly realized that trying to land in such conditions would be too risky. They executed a go-around and tried their luck again. But with the winds still in full force, they wisely decided to abort the landing a second time and head to a nearby airport. The crew's quick thinking ensured everyone remained safe and sound. In a different but equally dramatic situation, on February 13, 2023, a Britten-Norman BN-2B-20 Islander also had its own thrilling adventure. As the plane came in for landing, it encountered unexpected weather conditions, including rain showers and an abrupt downdraft. Thankfully, the right wing took most of the impact, but the pilot, 2 passengers, and a dog walked away without a scratch. The Dutch Safety Board took a close look at what happened and found that the tricky weather was a big factor. These incidents highlight the challenges of operating at Yrausquin Airport and the critical role of pilots' expertise and decision-making skills in ensuring safety in such demanding environments. But it's not just the runway length that makes landings challenging. There are some hidden dangers that you might not know about. We've covered more aviation risks in this video. Click on the screen to find out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.